Hi everyone, my name is Cassie Cohen. I am an online computer science student with Florida State University. I'm taking all my classes online so that I may do internships and travel while I study. I have completed a 6-month internship with Google Chrome in Mountain View, California. Right now I'm taking a month off and traveling through New Zealand. My plans for the future are in January, I'm starting a 3-month internship with Google Chrome in Sydney, Australia. And in April, I will do a 4-month internship as a project manager with Microsoft in Seattle. By the time I complete that internship, I will have my degree, and I will be choosing between software engineering and project management for my ultimate career path. Right now, I'm making a video for one of my classes, COP4020 Programming Languages. In this video, we will be learning a little bit about ActionScript. Particularly, we will be looking about how characters often move in role-playing games. Here we have a Flash game called Zombie Tycoon. If you'd like to try this game out yourself, you can go to molehill.zombietycoon.com. In this game, we can see an application of the action that we are going to be implementing in ActionScript. The main goal is to have a character, or in this case a group of characters, and move them to a different point on the screen. It's simply done with a click, and then the character centers itself around the area where you clicked. We are going to be making a simplified version of this by just having a blank background, and instead of a group of characters, we will represent them with one single circle. To follow along with this tutorial, you will not need to download anything. Just visit wonderfl.net, log in, and hit Start to create Flash. This tool is going to allow us to write all of our code into the single file in the browser, and it's going to compile as we go, displaying the output over here on the right-hand side. We'll start our file by creating a package. A package is a special type of namespace that is guaranteed to be known at compile time. Typically, inside of a Flash project, we would use reverse domain name notation. However, since we're just creating a single file with an empty package inside the browser, we are not utilizing names at this time. The next part of our program is where we import needed packages. The first package that we're importing is MovieClip. MovieClip inherits from DisplayObject, and we will use this when creating our main class in the program. Our next import is everything inside of events. We are going to use this for our mouse event in ClickListener. Now we come to our main class in the program, RPG. RPG extends from MovieClip, and as we said before, MovieClip inherits from DisplayObject. This is necessary because we want to be able to display the objects that we create inside of our class RPG. Inside of our class, we will create a variable called player. Player is of type circle. After we create our player, we need to have a constructor for our class. Here is our constructor. Inside of our constructor, we assign an instance of the class circle to our player. Outside of our class RPG is where we have the class circle. Let's go to there and see what we do inside of the class circle. Our class circle is a dynamic class. The reason we make class circle dynamic is so that we can add these properties, target X and target Y, to our player. We could, if we wanted, avoid making circle dynamic by putting the definition of target X and target Y inside the class circle. Class circle is a simple class as it exists solely of one constructor. Inside of our constructor, we will begin a fill using the Graphics API. This particular fill I've chosen to fill with green. Still using the graphics API, we then draw a circle. We're starting it at points 0, 0 and giving it a radius of 50 pixels. In order to draw this circle, you need to make sure that you import the shape package. After we draw our circle, we end the fill. We will now go back up to where we assigned an instance of the class circle to our player. At that point, once we are done assigning the instance, we have created the circle. However, the circle does not yet display. We can see as we recompile, the circle is not here. That's because we need to add the player to the stage. We'll do this with add child. Once this is done, you can see that the circle actually appears on our stage. These next two lines assign an X and Y coordinate to our player object. Right now, we have the player starting in the center of the stage. We do this by grabbing the stage width and the stage height and simply dividing them by 2. We can choose to have the player start in different areas of the screen, such as actual coordinates. We can start at coordinate 100 for X and 200 for Y, for instance. As you can see, the circle appears in a different area of the screen. Our next goal is to tell the program that we want to do something when a user clicks anywhere on the stage. To do this, we need to add an event listener to the stage. We're going to be adding a mouse event when the user clicks, and our event handler tells the program what we want to do when the user performs this action. In our case, we want to call the event handler setTarget. Outside of the constructor for our class, we will define what setTarget does. Our definition for setTarget is a great example to explore some of the syntax of ActionScript. Notice that the type of the function goes at the end, similar to how the type of the variables also went at the end. setTarget accepts a parameter, our event. We take this event as a parameter so that we can read attributes on it inside the function. Stage X and stage Y will tell us where on the stage the user had clicked their mouse. The point where the user clicks is the goal of where we would like our player to go. Therefore, we are going to assign these points to attributes on our player. We will call those attributes target X and target Y. In our definition for setTarget, we also need to add an event listener to know when we should actually move the circle. We add the event listener onto the player object. This event listener will listen for every time the event enters a new frame. Each time this happens, we are going to call our event handler movePlayer. Similar to the above syntax, when we called the handler setTarget, we left the current function and made a new function to define setTarget. We too are going to leave our current function and make a new function to define movePlayer. movePlayer is the function that we will use to actually move the circle across the screen. Inside this function, we are defining 3 variables. They are all deltas, or differences. We have a difference for the X, for the Y, and then a difference that combines both the X and the Y. Looking at diff X, we simply take the difference of where we would like the circle to be versus where the circle actually is. This is solely a horizontal distance. The same goes for y. We're looking at where we would like the circle to be vertically versus where the circle is vertically. For example, if my circle is right here and my mouse is slightly to the right and up, then the distance that the circle needs to travel on the x would be bringing the mouse down from where the circle is to here. However, the distance that it needs to travel on the y-axis is this distance. But as you can see, we want these distances to be traveled at the same time. That way the circle ends up actually making a diagonal across the screen directly to the mouse. The way we accomplish this is with Pythagorean's theorem. That's what this line is right here. We use MathPow to take each variable to the power of 2. We then get an incremental amount that the circle needs to move in both the x and y direction by dividing each difference by the diagonal difference and multiplying by a rate. Each time this function goes through, one of those increments is added to both the x and the y, and then they are both applied at the end of the function. Each time we add an amount to both the x and the y value, we need to check where the circle is in comparison with where we would like it to be. At any time, if the circle is within 10 pixels of the x position or the y position, then we know we can stop moving in that direction. When we do this subtraction to check the distance of where it is in comparison with where the circle needs to be, we make sure to take the absolute value. The absolute value lets us know that we can stop if the circle is 10 pixels or less to the left or to the right. Inside the body of this if statement, we stop the circle from moving simply by removing the event listener that called movePlayer. Notice how this rate, which we are multiplying the quotient of the differences by, and the threshold for which we are checking the distance of where the circle is versus where it needs to be, are the same number. Ideally, these numbers should be abstracted out into a single variable because they will always remain the same as each other. When we change these numbers to a greater amount, our circle will move faster, and the lower the amount, the circle will move slower. For example, now that these numbers are all 50, you will see that the circle moves a lot faster. And when they are 10, the circle moves more slowly again. And there you have it. This is everything that you need to make a player move in a role-playing game using ActionScript.